Okay, welcome, welcome, beautiful souls. Happy winter solstice. So, soul solstice. I am just very, very excited and honored to be here right now sharing this with you. It just feels like a really poignant culmination of a lot of the layers of the journey that I've been on. And I don't know about all of you, but this has been a very, very challenging year for me. And I know that's true for many people on many, many, many levels. And I know people who have experienced loss in every single form and just challenges of every different kind. So, this year, the way I've been seeing it has really been an initiation. And I feel like it's particularly with the women too, because 2022 was a Magdalene number, is a Magdalene number. So this was a year of the divine feminine. And there's many energetics that go into this year. It's not just that, but that's a really potent layer of what has been working through us this year, the energetics. And I really wanted to create this space because the light in the darkness, this is what the solstice is really about. It's rebirthing the light from the darkness. So on the solstice, this is the longest night of the year and the shortest day by default. So we have more darkness than light here in the northern hemisphere. And this is just a really beautiful symbol of the rebirthing process that we are all going through as we enter the new year. And I will discuss in more depth all of these incredible energetics that are working with us this particular year after we go through a brief centering so we could get grounded in this space together. So I just wanted to share that little tidbit, that brief intro before we move into the centering. So I now invite you to take a few brief moments to close your eyes and breathe into your body. Begin to relax and deepen into the moment, the present, the gift that is here and now. Feel the breath move through you. And as you inhale, notice any thoughts that are going through your mind, any sensations you feel in your body, and allow yourself to release and let go with each exhale. So, with each inhale, bring yourself back into the present moment, into your body. And with each exhale, just deepen in and allow yourself to open up to receive. And now tune into your heart space. With each breath, feel your heart open, feel your heart energy expand. And with each exhale, feel the light of your heart expand out into the rest of your body, out beyond your body, enveloping you in a beautiful golden egg of heart light. And now tune in to the grand central sun, a light 300 feet above you, the sun of our sun, the galactic center. Those 12th dimensional frequencies of pure love light. Allow those beautiful golden diamond rainbow frequencies to enter in through your crown, down through your body, down through your spine, through every energy center, and breathe it back up into your heart. And with your exhale, feel that golden light of the divine masculine surround you, fill you, and surround you. That golden light of protection. And now pull that golden light down through your root, through your feet, down through the core of the earth, down straight into the center of Mother Gaia, and attune to that beautiful, warm, crystalline light of the Divine Mother, and invite her energy up into you like liquid plasma through roots, flowing up from the center, filling you up with her beautiful, warm, motherly energy up through your spine into every cell, activating your DNA. And breathe her light into your heart, feeling it expand and feeling the light of the divine masculine, the light of the divine feminine, and the light of the divine child that is you merging into a beautiful golden light. Feel that light fill you and surround you, connected above and below and protected through this golden crystalline light, this golden rod of light that is connecting you above and below and protecting you as we move through this center of creation, this portal of creation. That is not the word that I was expecting to come through, but that's where we are. So we are the center of creation. We are the portal of creation. So allow that knowing to infuse into your heart as you come back into the present, using your breath to come back into your body, into the here and now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So now that we are centered and grounded and present, I just want to share my little space with you really briefly. The candles, the crystals, the poinsettias, even the pine cone here, which I will get into in a moment. So I'm sharing this with the offer that you may feel called to create some kind of little offer, some sacred ceremonial space for yourself if you haven't done so yet, because this is the time of the year where we are being called to go within. With the holidays, with Christmas season, I love Christmas, I do. And it pulls us out of ourselves, the busyness, the hustle and bustle, all the Christmas parties that many of us are, we feel obligated to go out and buy things, to do things, to cook things, to be places. It is this very outward energy. It's a very exciting energy. And I love that. I really do. And there's so much beauty and magic in it because there is this energy of hope that is being rebirthed through us. And yet at the same time, the true deeper energetics of this moment call us to go in, because this is the time of hibernation from a more practical standpoint. This is when all the world around us is hibernating. The leaves have fallen, the branches are bare, the animals are underground. They are waiting for spring to reemerge. And yet we as humans are out here doing, 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 doing. And this is a time to recalibrate, to bring it back into balance, because the demands of modern worlds are not going to completely disappear just because we want them to. And yet we have to be intentional about creating this sacred space for ourselves so that we can tune in with what our soul and our body really, really craves and desires, so that we can give ourselves this time and space to nurture. So the solstice represents a turning point from the dark into the light. So again, this is a time that we are called to go deep into introspection, and this is a really potent time for transformation, because when we do go in and attune to the wisdom and all that has been present for us within the last year, then we can get really clear on what is not not in alignment for us, what we want to release and leave behind, and then get clear on those seeds of intention that we wish to call in, because we are coming up on the new year. But in truth, this is the original new year, the birth of the sun. So this is the rebirth of the sun, rebirth of ourselves into the light from the darkness. And there's a lot that goes into the energetics of Christmas, and this has nothing to do with religion. I want to be really clear about that, but I want to share a lot of the origin story of these dynamics, where they come from, what all the symbolism is actually really about. Because when we attune to the organic timelines, when we attune to their original intent and meaning, then it actually deepens our understanding of who we are and what this journey of life is really about. So I'll share a bit about that. But this is the void space. This is the time to go into the darkness to find the light. So, creating the sacred space, giving yourself time and space to be in stillness, to reflect. This is what this moment in time is about. So the galactic new year was also on 12/12. I'm not going to get too deep into that portal, but there's many energetics that coincide around this time of year. So the galactic center is, way up out in the ethers, and that is actually the frequency that we are pulling into the planet now, that we are working with now. So if we consciously ask to tune into the galactic center, if we tune into these frequencies and we allow them to work through us, then we can recalibrate to the moment, to the here and now. And this is where our inner wisdom is revealed. So this is about choosing what we want to create in the new year from a space of knowing what is not aligned for us any longer. It's an invitation to separate from the world around us, actually. Even though the holidays and modern life call us to come together, there is a beauty in that, but it's the both and. We want to create space for both. So, what worked out, what didn't, this is about releasing and choosing as we move forward. And briefly, I want to discuss the new moon that is coming in 2 days. So, on the 23rd, we have this new moon in Capricorn. New moons are about beginning. So, this is the dark moon. We don't see the moon, we see the stars, and the stars shine brighter at this time. So again, it's this very potent energetic of the light in the darkness, the rebirth of hope. So every new moon is a new beginning, but with this timing of the solstice portal, because today is the peak solstice, 4:48 p.m. We will be in space together at that exact time. That is the peak of the solstice energy. And yet there is this portal 3 days before and after. We are within this solstice portal because the rebirth of the sun happens 3 days later. So they calibrated Christmas Day to the 25th to be more in alignment with the rebirth of the sun. The birth of the sun, the rebirth of the sun. Yes, both spellings. So the whole ritual around Christmas and Jesus's birth was actually a representation of much older mythology. His birth was really in the spring, according to most people. Every person that I've read who actually went deep into the history aside from the Bible, he was born in the springtime, but they changed his birthday to coincide with this deeper mythology because of who he is and what he represented as a person, as an avatar, as an ascended master. So the new moon is very much about a reset, and that is what we are here to do, to reset, to recalibrate. This is about stepping into living in alignment with your values, your core truths, stepping into new possibilities. What are your values? What are your priorities? To get recentered with yourself, because the world just pulls us in so many directions and we can get off track ourselves. So this is a time to reattune to our soul's wisdom. There is very much this potent energy of release, that comes from endings, karmic endings, relationship endings. So many people may be finding, especially we had this really intense eclipse portal back in November, and this energy just keeps coming through, really crazy moons since then. The energies this year have just been ramping up and up and up and up. And so this it's really more important than ever to take this space, to take this time for ourselves to nurture, to go within, to attune to what our soul desires. So looking at the things in our life, are they elevating our frequency or are they lowering our frequency? And anything that is lowering our frequency, and by frequency I mean, are you constricted or open and expansive? And that's your emotional state. Are they bringing you into energies and feelings that are constricting, like fear and sadness and depression? Or do you feel gratitude and love and joy when you're in these circumstances or around these people? And so this is a very individual process that we have to guide ourselves through as to what in our life is working and what is not. What do you want to bring into the future? Habits, substances, patterns, behaviors. This goes deeper than the external things. This is about the internal calibration as well. So clear the clutter, physical and otherwise, mental, emotional, and really tune in. What does your soul desire? What is an empowering, inspiring, expanded vision of you and your life? Capricorn, because we are entering Capricorn and the new moon in Capricorn is about creating new ways of being and new systems and structures. So the energy for that is really heightened and potent, not just for our systems and structures for our personal life, but the collective. So we see things being shaken up down to the foundation, down to the core of the systems and structures that our world has been built on, that we are very clearly beginning to see are not working for us. The cosmos are really aligning to support us now in co-creating a new earth based on harmony, based on love, based on truth, based on integrity above all. This isn't going to happen overnight, obviously. However, these energetics are really assisting us in aligning with these higher frequencies. So health, healing of our bodies, and the large body that holds us, Mother Earth, how can we help in healing her? And she's very powerful and infinitely abundant. This idea of scarcity and lack and not enough to support the population, not enough resources, not enough food, that's all based in lies. If you go on an airplane, all you have to do is look out the window. You see how much land there is. That is not true. That is not the truth. There is mismanagement and there is deliberate shutting down of the systems that is happening, and that's not aligned with truth. That's not aligned with love and harmony. That's not aligned with abundance. So these are the illusions that we have to break free from in order for us to co-create a life that is aligned for ourselves as well as the planet. Getting back into the holidays. So the holidays are holy days. Christmas is the marriage of Christ and Mass. So December 25th is the day when the sun was reborn again after standing still for 3 days. So this is how it all connects and what these energetics were originally about. So this is the birth of the sun, S-U-N, that in the mythos became the birth of the S-O-N, the Son of God. It became a solar celebration anchored on Christmas. However, attuning to the original essence, December 21st, this is the mother energy, the dark mother energy from which the sun is birthed, from which all potential comes. So the mother represents the womb, the void space, and she holds the infinite possibilities and potential within. The black diamond possibility, womb space, portal potential, however you want to envision it. I envision it as this really beautiful crystalline darkness with like little speckled like stars in the sky, as within so without. I see those little stars as seeds of potential that exist, waiting to be nurtured into life, waiting to be nurtured and birthed into creation. So, this is the source of all creation. It exists within all of us. And this is the original essence of the mother, the moon, and the sun mythologies coming together. So, the great mother who birthed the holy child that is the sun. The masculine principles birthed from the feminine. So we really must come back into honoring the feminine energies and essences within. Hanukkah also, to be clear, it's all based in the same theme, Kwanzaa as well. So all of these holidays around this time, there is a lot of joy because there is a lot of hope. So that energy, that essence is very, very true. But what we are called to do in this time is to go in and give birth to that hope that lies within, not just to scatter our energy with all of the celebration around us. So there are two births that are here, that are present. It's the physical birth and the spiritual birth. And the second birth is more important because this is the birth of inner gnosis. This is the birth of inner knowing. So this is about rebirthing into alignment with our inner divinity and sovereignty. So this is anchoring back into the original divine blueprint that this earthly existence is here to release, that is here to uncover. So we are here on this journey of discovery and remembrance to come back into this inner knowing of the truth that lies within our divine blueprint. The ancient Yule traditions, so this is also known as Yule according to the ancient traditions, they were converted, and this is where we get the evergreen tree and the gifts. And evergreens were thought to be sacred because they didn't drop their leaves and die, so they were life eternal. And the green itself represented hope. It also represents abundance. It represents life. This tree was considered sacred and holy for these reasons. So it was decorated with representations of all the desires for what they wanted the new year to bring. So fruits, coins, candles, charms, mushrooms. I'll get into the mushroom layer in a moment. This one's fun. It really was really anchored into elements of earth. So we can see how these traditions have become a bit distorted in modern times. And I still love everything that comes with this season because the essence is still there. We just have to attune to the original essence and the original meaning, and all the beauty and the magic is still very much present. It's still very much here. We just have to go beneath the surface of the material, the veil of illusion that we have been told is what this season is about, materialism and Santa. As fun as Santa is, like, there's a lot more deep than that. So mistletoe, before I move on to the mushrooms, mistletoe was also a sacred plant, the plant that was considered all healing, or a plant that would make whole. Once I learned all these things, I was just beyond fascinated because I was like, wow, so much immense knowledge in these ancient traditions that we've been so disconnected from. So it's an antidote to poison, and it helped increase cattle's fertility. Just side note there, but milk, huh? Milk, cheese, a lot of the sustenance of life. So it flourishes also in a time when most creatures are fighting for life, where growth and its own growth cannot actually be controlled. So it can't be eradicated, and it grows out of nothing, and it appears to be everywhere. So the ancients really saw mistletoe as some sacred holy plant as well, because it seemed like a miracle in its own right that it could grow, and would grow as proliferately as it does in this time of year. in homeopathic medicine, it also helps with epilepsy, apoplexy, palsy, tuberculosis, stroke, and even cancer. So if you look into natural treatments that are suppressed out there, mistletoe is amongst those, including like apricot kernel seeds and so on and so forth. But there's all sorts of natural methods for healing diseases as dire as cancer that have been kind of pushed out because they can't really make a buck off of them, to be entirely honest. It's a really stark reality of our world, of the system. But these ancient traditions were able to heal, and of course modern medicine has so much that we didn't have before. So I'm not saying there's no value in all of the modern treatments that we have, because forget about surgery back in the day, right? Like that's just not something that was really as advanced or possible, at least not in our modern, our more recent history, the way we perceive it. I think ancient civilizations were far more advanced than we give them credit for, but that's another story. But the druidic mistletoe is also the druidic symbol of joy and peace, and in the Norse traditions, it represented love and friendship. So mistletoe also has really, really beautiful and deep energetics associated with this time. None of it is random. And the Christmas tree itself. So let's get back to the mushrooms and the red, white, and green for Christmas. So Amanita muscaria, the magic mushrooms, the little red topped with a white spot mushrooms, they grow underneath pine trees. So, this is the origin of Christmas trees, gifts under the tree, and the ornaments on the tree, because they would pick these magic mushrooms and string them up on trees to dry. And they contain some hallucinogenic substance, I forget the name of, as well as DMT. DMT, if you're not familiar, is known as the spirit molecule. It is the spirit molecule of the pineal gland. So we actually contain DMT within our bodies. And when we consume hallucinogenic substances, ideally natural ones like from mushrooms or ayahuasca, if you're familiar with plant medicine, stuff like that, in safe containers and knowing the right dosages, of course, always be safe with this kind of stuff. But these substances help to activate and trigger and amplify these hallucinogenic experiences that we can have. But when people enter very deep meditation, this is why some people go on journeys without the use of substances, because the DMT molecules in their activated pineal gland are allowing them to enter this state of expanded perception where we are actually in touch and attuned to our spiritual nature. So the pineal gland is a pine cone shaped gland. So if you've ever noticed that there's a pine cone on top of there's a pine cones in a lot of buildings, actually, at the top of things, and in like, banisters, and on top of the, I'm forgetting the name of it, but they're the medical symbol. I'm 99% sure that's what the pine cone is on top of, and the snakes wrapping around it represent the kundalini energy rising, and then it activates the pineal gland at the top. And then we get to access spirit directly. We get to commune with spirit directly. So this has really been, all of it obviously has been distorted and shifted. So the red, white, and green, now we see where that comes from. The gifts under the tree were originally the mushrooms, even stringing them by the fire. They would dry them there sometime. That would the pre-stocking. And the thing with hallucinogenics is your experience on them very much depends on your internal state. So the idea of only the good kids getting presents and the other ones getting coal, for example, kids, I say, but People with a more negative disposition or in a bad mood are not going to have a good experience on hallucinogenics. People who are of good nature or in a good mood, they're probably going to have an incredible, opening, uplifting, heartwarming, blissful experience where they can access, but they can also be powerful tools to help us work through that darkness. So I'm not saying that it's not, there is no value in using it therapeutically, but this is the origin of Christmas, funny enough. And where did Santa Claus come from? Well, reindeer also used to seek, or they do seek out these mushrooms. And the idea is that the shamans and people would go on these, the shamans used to dress up in red and white and black boots. They would go seeking them and deliver them to the people in their village. So that's where the gifts from Santa came from. And this idea of flying, well, they're flying in a different way. They're soaring through, and the chariot, Santa's sleigh, is the Big Dipper that rotates around the North Star in a 24-hour period. So Santa delivering toys to the children overnight, that's where this originates. And the North Pole is a representation of the North Star. So all of these ideas come from very real traditions that are actually steeped very much in esoteric gnosis, of the inner knowing of our spirit, of who we are. So, this is a really potent and powerful time to tune in with these energies, because the timing was always now. The timing of that tradition in the northern European pagan cultures, and I use pagan lightly because it has these negative connotations that are actually not really so true, but there's a little truth to them, but that's not all it was. So it's this shamanic tradition where they really were more directly in tune with spirit. So it's called an entheogen, just a little tidbit. So that's the DMT molecule, is activated by these entheogens. They generate the God within. That's what the term means, generate the God within. So we are all sparks of the divine. This is the essence that we are being returned to. And religion has come in and separated us from that truth, because when they became the mediators, they actually had a role to play where they could maintain power and then manipulate the population to believe that they needed priests to be the intermediaries between us and God. And that's not the truth. We can commune with spirit directly. Solstice itself represents the solar new year, so the rebirth of the light, the renewal of dreams, completions, and beginnings. So, this is this time of transition, that turning point back into the light, from the old into the new. So, this is really the new year. The idea of the virgin birth, the holy conception, it's the conception of the light, the conception of the sun, sun, and it's teaching us to be penetrated by the sun so that we can birth our creations into reality in alignment with the truth that is born of the light. The longest night of Yule is tonight. So this is the mother night. So this is really the most potent time to be going in, and we're going to do some journaling. And after we do some like very gentle body work and breathing exercises, we're going to tune in with journaling prompts so that we can really get clear with ourselves about where we are, where we have been, what we're ready to let go of. And then we'll recalibrate and begin to plant those intentions for the new. Mother Mary represented the dove. Well, she is associated with the dove, and the dove is the dove of peace, but it also represents the Holy Spirit. So when you see the dove depicted in all of those old religious paintings, it represents not just peace, it represents the Holy Spirit itself descending into that ascended individual. So Mother Mary was an ascended master herself, prepared for immaculate conception of the divine. So Yeshua, when he was born, Jesus, the man, he wove the divine crystalline blueprint through the body of Mary into Gaia's higher consciousness, into the template of the planet. So he seeded this higher consciousness into the planet as a way shower for us all to follow. So when he speaks of loving thy neighbor as thyself, he means self-love first, because you cannot love your neighbor if you cannot love yourself. This is a really crucial, important teaching to return to, because, again, leaving religion aside, his message as an ascended master was love and compassion, unconditional love and compassion. And that must begin with the self. So it must begin with forgiveness as well. So we are also going to bring in this energetic of self forgiveness and compassion as we move through these prompts, as we move through these exercises. So bring in these energies, these frequencies of unconditional love, unconditional compassion, and forgiveness for self, for other as well, of course, but it must begin within. As within, so without. So once we allow these frequencies to move through us, then we can feel that density release, because that will no longer be aligned with these higher frequencies that are aligned with the truth of our love, that are aligned with our heart wisdom. Just to return to this idea that these myths were all founded on very deep truths, this inner alchemy of sacred union that occurs within, that leads us back to the heart, that leads us back to wholeness, that sacred union that happens within, that guides us back to the heart wisdom. So this brings us back into this essence of wonder and beauty and infinite possibilities. So the sun is the first principle of life, born from the darkness, bringing life into creation. Even the circle itself is the most fundamental form of creation. The feminine essence is also getting back into the dark mother of the night. Here is the alchemy that happens within the cauldron of the womb space, if you will. So this is where we are at. We are in the cauldron of alchemy, alchemizing the old into the wisdom to be birthed into the light of the new. This is the process that we will go through today. And it's bringing us into mastery. And mastery, I mean on the energetic and also the very practical level, the spiritual level and the practical level. Mastery is about clearing out our chakras, our energy centers, and clearing out all the layers of our nervous system. So this is all very practical and tangible, because we are actually bridging science and spirituality. Science is catching up with these spiritual truths. So from a very practical, grounded standpoint, healing happens when we clear out and recalibrate our nervous system to feel grounded, to feel safe, to feel at home within our body again. So this is very much about nervous system healing, to bring it back down to the much more tangible, practical essence of what we are doing and why we are doing it. This is so that we can come into mastery of ourselves, so that we can create the abundance, so that we can create all the magic that we are here to create, to be of service, to uplift humanity, to do whatever the heck we are here to do, to be a loving mother. That is one of the highest forms of service, in my opinion, because we desperately need children to be raised in the frequency of love right now. We desperately need that for the healing of humanity and the planet. This isn't about, being some CEO or president of the world or anything like that. We all have a beautiful, essential role to play. So this is about releasing the fear of attachments to endings and the overarching distortion of fear, that matrix of fear that we have been living in, this veil of illusion of separation from our desires. So the struggle, the suffering, we are here to transcend that by healing the nervous system by integrating the lessons of the wounds and bringing it into wisdom and rebirthing it into the light of creation. So, this is about becoming the phoenix that rises from the ashes. This is about being in the mastery of life and the alchemy of the both and the dark and the light, the magic and the wisdom that lies within each, and the union of the two.